My whole family blamed me for everything, so I quietly left and cut them off. After a month, I still remember the way my mother slammed the plate on the table that night. Spaghetti sauce splattered across the white tablecloth, and no one even blinked. "Of course you forgot to pick up Dad's prescription. What else can we expect from someone like you?" she said. My sister rolled her eyes. My brother scoffed. And my father? He didn't even look up from his phone. If you've ever been blamed for things you didn't do, or made to feel worthless by your own family, then share this video, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to like. Because this story, it's about how I turned quiet pain into unstoppable power. I wasn't late. I wasn't irresponsible. I just wasn't their favorite, and that was enough. For 28 years, I was their emotional punching bag. The dishwasher breaks. You probably overloaded it again. Someone's money goes missing. Alex must have taken it. My name was Alex, and my crime was being the unwanted one. My siblings were the achievers. One was a nurse, the other an architect. I was just in between jobs. They never cared that I'd been laid off due to budget cuts, or that I spent nights freelancing to keep myself afloat. None of it mattered, not when they needed a target. But what triggered the final break? It wasn't some huge betrayal. It was my niece's 7th birthday. I bought her a beautiful pink bike. She loved it. I saw it in her eyes when she ran up to hug me. But then my brother's wife walked over, picked up the tag, and announced loudly, "We said no gifts, Alex." Trying to show off again? That one sentence turned the whole room against me. People started murmuring. My mom pulled me aside, her face cold. "You just had to make it about you, didn't you?" I drove home shaking, not crying, shaking, not with sadness, but rage. A rage so quiet, it almost felt calm. That night, I made a decision. I wasn't going to fight back. I was going to disappear. No grand farewell, no dramatic speeches, just silence. I left the family group chat, blocked their numbers, deleted every shared photo. I packed my bags the next morning and moved out of the state. I didn't even leave a note. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel guilt. I felt free. I rented a tiny 1-bedroom apartment 3 states away. It was small, but it was mine. No accusations, no tension, no walking on eggshells. I started picking up freelance design work online. It was slow at first, really slow, but I had nothing to lose. No one to impress, no birthdays to attend, no, "You're late again, Alex," in my ear. And then something unexpected happened. 2 weeks in, a client from Chicago offered me a full-time remote contract. A big one. "We love your style," she said. "It's raw and fresh, exactly what we're looking for." The paycheck? Double what I'd ever earned in my life. I said yes before she finished her sentence. 3 days later, another agency emailed me. "Saw your Behance. Are you available for consulting?" Suddenly, I had money. Not just rent money, real money, savings, options. But here's where it gets strange. That same week, I got a text from an unknown number. Just one sentence. "Mom's asking about you. Call her." I stared at it for a long time. Then I smiled. They had noticed, but I wasn't ready to go back. Not yet. I upgraded my apartment, bought better equipment, started a website, branded myself. Within 30 days of cutting my family off, I'd built a freelance brand that earned more in 1 month than I'd earned in the past 6. But I knew the moment was coming. The moment they'd try to reel me back, and not because they missed me, but because they needed something. And oh, it came faster than I thought. It started with a message from my sister. "Hey, random question. Can you help me design a brochure for my clinic? It's urgent." I left it on read. Then came another one, this time from my father's email. "We're trying to refinance the house and need someone tech savvy. Can you take a look?" I didn't reply. And then came the twist I didn't expect. A group video call request popped up on my laptop screen. They were all on it. My heart stopped for a second, but I didn't click join. I stared at that blinking screen, wondering what their faces looked like. Probably smug, probably fake concerned, probably just trying to fish for a way back. So I did the unthinkable. I answered, and what I said left them speechless. There was a pause. That kind of awkward silence where everyone's waiting for someone else to speak first. Their faces popped up one by one. Mom with her usual disappointed frown, Dad avoiding eye contact, my sister fake smiling like this was some kind of reunion. My brother sat back, arms crossed, like he was doing me a favor. I leaned in and said slowly, "You've got 30 seconds. Say what you need to say. Mom blinked. Honey, we've just been so worried. We didn't know where you went. You didn't ask, I said flatly. My brother jumped in, trying to play it cool. All right, we get it. You were upset. But, look, can we just move past all that? You disappeared, and honestly, it's made things hard for everyone. Especially Mom. Hard for them? That's what they were going with. I didn't respond. I just stared at them. That uncomfortable kind of stare that makes people scramble to fill the silence. Actually, my sister cut in, suddenly smiling wider. We were thinking, maybe you could help with a small design thing for my clinic. It's just a brochure. Super quick. And you're so good at that stuff. There it was. Not love. Not care. Need. I charge $2,500 per project now, I said, without blinking. Up front. Silence again. Mom's face tightened. You're joking, right? No, who called me, remember? My dad finally spoke, voice low and irritated. We're your family, Alex. You think it's okay to abandon us, then talk to us like we're clients? I said slowly, it's wild that I was treated like garbage for nearly 3 decades, and the first time I get a taste of peace, you all come crawling back. Not to apologize, not to make things right, but because you need something. My sister's smile vanished. Wow, so this is who you've become? No, I said. This is who I've always been. You just never looked long enough to see it. I clicked end call, and sat back, heart racing. It wasn't over. I knew that, but something had shifted. That call wasn't closure. It was confirmation that I wasn't crazy, that I'd been right to walk away. I wasn't the loser they painted me to be, and now, I was going to show the world. I put everything into my business. Every ounce of resentment, every bit of pain, every long-forgotten insult, I used it like fuel. I wasn't working for clients. I was working for revenge. Quiet revenge, and it worked. 2 months later, I was earning over $20,000 a month, but I kept it low-key. No flexing on Instagram. No sudden return to family gatherings. I wanted the truth to spread organically, like poison in their pride. And then, the perfect opportunity came knocking. An old high school friend reached out. She was organizing a family and friends networking brunch, a social mixer with local businesses, investors, and community leaders. Alex, we'd love to have you there, she wrote. We've been following your design brand online. You've built something incredible. I almost said no, but then I remembered something. My entire family lived in that town, and events like this, they loved them. I arfed yes. I didn't tell anyone I was coming, but I made sure my name was on the promotional poster. Top sponsor, Alex Warren, founder, Warren Visual Studios. And that morning, I wore the sharpest black suit I owned, walked into that country club like I owned the place, because at that moment, I kind of did. As I stepped into the hall, I spotted my family instantly. Mom, Dad, my siblings all standing together near the food table, laughing, mingling, unaware, until the host took the mic. Ladies and gentlemen, our main sponsor tonight is someone you all know. A local success story who's now working with international brands and agencies across the country. Give it up for the founder of Warren Visual Studios, Mr. Alex Warren. The spotlight hit me. My family turned. Their faces? Absolutely priceless. The room applauded, but my eyes were locked on theirs. My mother's frozen expression, my sister's open mouth, my brother squinting like he couldn't believe it. My father, well, he looked down like maybe, just maybe, he already knew this moment was coming. I walked to the front, calm and steady, not smiling, not smug, just grounded the way someone feels when they no longer need validation. Thank you, I said into the mic. A few months ago I was living in a cramped room, eating instant noodles, trying to figure out what I did wrong. Not in business and life. See, I thought love was supposed to come without price tags or conditions. I thought family meant safety. Turns out, I was wrong. The room went silent. People leaned in. But sometimes I continued, being blamed, being doubted, being underestimated. It lights something in you. It did in me. And now, I don't wait for approval. I build, I create, and I help others do the same. More applause. Some stood. I stepped down. I didn't walk toward my family, but they came to me. First, my sister. Alex, I had no idea you were doing all this. I nodded. You never asked. My mother followed. Her voice was soft, almost unsure. Why didn't you tell us? I turned to her, holding eye contact. Because every time I tried, You all made sure I felt like I was wasting your time. My dad cleared his throat. Well, you're clearly doing well now. That's good to see. He said it like I was a stranger who happened to win a raffle. I wasn't angry anymore. Not at that moment. Just done. Yeah, I said. And it didn't come from luck. It came from silence, from distance, from finally realizing I don't need permission to live my life. There was no dramatic apology. No tears, just discomfort. They didn't know how to respond because for the first time, they had nothing to hold over me. Then came the real twist. A woman stepped beside me. Alex, quick update: the investor from New York wants to push the retainer up to 6 figures. Do you have a second? My sister blinked. Investor? Yeah, I said. She's my business manager. We're launching a digital product line next month. Pre-orders just crossed 300K. My brother's jaw tensed. I knew what he was thinking, the same guy they once laughed at, now getting 6-figure deals, with their friends watching. But I wasn't done. Oh, by the way, I added casually. You remember Uncle Mike's son Jeremy? He emailed last week. Said my story inspired him. Wants to intern with me this summer. Mom looked stunned. Jeremy? From Boston? I nodded. Yeah, you know what's funny? He said he used to think I was the failure in the family. I leaned in, looked my mother right in the eyes, and said, turns out the failure was letting you all decide my worth for so long. I turned away before she could answer. The rest of the evening, I didn't look back. I shook hands with entrepreneurs, answered questions, made connections, and watched from the corner of my eye as my family slowly faded into the background, ignored by the same crowd that once ignored me. But the real moment, the final sting, came the next morning. An email from my father. Subject, proud message. I may not have said it before, but I'm proud of what you've done. Maybe we can meet soon, talk things out. I stared at that line and deleted the email without replying, because sometimes silence is the loudest revenge. A week later, I received a letter, not an email, a letter, handwritten, from my sister. I almost didn't open it, but curiosity got the better of me. It started with flattery: how amazing the event was, how impressive I looked, how proud she was. Then, as I suspected, came the ask. Her clinic was struggling with branding, and she wanted to know if I could donate some of my time to help them rebrand and attract new patients. Donate, that word echoed in my head like a bad joke. These were the same people who mocked me for years, who couldn't stand 5 minutes with me unless they were criticizing my choices. Now they wanted my professional services for free. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Instead, I posted a story on my business account that night, a short clip of me on a private Zoom call with a Fortune 500 brand. My screen was clean, organized, my voice confident, my logo gleaming in the corner. Caption: the same ones who once ignored me now ask for my time. But I've learned time is expensive, and I don't offer discounts for disrespect. The message spread fast, screenshotted, shared, commented on by people who got it. That night, I received dozens of DMs, strangers, freelancers, entrepreneurs, all thanking me. Some said they'd been in the same situation, cut off by toxic families, belittled by people who now wanted a seat at the table they never helped build. I realized something powerful. My story wasn't just mine anymore. It was theirs too. So I did what felt right. I wrote a blog post titled, I wasn't the failure, I was just the escape plan they couldn't control. Double quotes. It went viral in under 24 hours. People shared their own stories in the comments. One girl said her parents kicked her out when she chose art school and now she ran a gallery in law. A guy from Texas said his family told him his tech idea was stupid and now his app had 1 million downloads. All of us had something in common. We didn't make it despite the pain. We made it because of it. And just when I thought the dust had finally settled, I got one last message, this time from my mother, a voice note. I hesitated before playing it, then tapped. Hi, it's me, your mom. I know you're busy. I saw your article, it hurt, but maybe that's fair. Maybe we were wrong. All I know is, we miss you. I miss you. Please, just call, even if it's just once. I stared at the phone, feeling a mix of emotions: anger, vindication, but also sadness, because deep down, I still wanted a family, but not like that. Not a family that only saw my value after the world did. I didn't reply. Instead, I walked out to my apartment balcony, looked over the city skyline, and reminded myself, I didn't cut them off to punish them. I cut them off to protect me. And now, I was finally free. Months passed. My life moved faster than ever. New clients, brand partnerships, and interviews with major outlets asking how I built everything from nothing. They called me a self-made success. But I knew better. I wasn't built from nothing. I was built from rejection. I didn't rise because I had it easy. I rose because I had no choice but to become the version of myself they couldn't break. One day, I got a call from a business podcast in New York. They wanted me to speak at a panel about transforming pain into power. The host was a sharp, well-known entrepreneur, and before hanging up, he said, "By the way, we've got someone else from your hometown on the guest list." Small world. I didn't think much of it until I walked into the event 2 weeks later, and there, across the green room, was my brother. I froze. He looked smaller, not physically, just diminished. His shoulders weren't as cocky, and his eyes weren't as sharp. He looked at me like he wasn't sure if he should wave or disappear. "Hey," he said awkwardly. "Didn't expect to see you here." I replied flatly. "I didn't know you'd be on the panel," he mumbled. I nodded, keeping my tone even. "Same." He stood there for a beat too long, then said, "I saw the article. Mom read it 100 times. She kept saying, maybe if we'd just supported him." I didn't respond. He continued, "Look, I know we messed up. I know I did, but I want you to know, I get it now. I finally get it." I stared at him, not with anger, with clarity. "Do you?" I asked. "Or do you just miss having someone around who always forgave you?" He looked down. "Maybe both." There was a pause, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel the need to fix anything. I wasn't the broken one anymore. I gave a small nod and walked past him, into the main hall. The lights were already dimming. People were taking their seats. The host introduced me with energy in his voice, from being blamed, ignored, and doubted, to building a multi-million-dollar brand and redefining the meaning of family and freedom. "Give it up for Alex Warren." The crowd clapped, but my eyes found one person in the back row, my father. Alone, he didn't clap, he just looked, haunted, not by guilt, but by realization that the one they all dismissed, mocked, and excluded was the one they couldn't replace. I stepped up to the mic and took a deep breath. "I used to think success was about proving people wrong," I said. "But now I know it's about proving yourself right. Every time someone tried to define my worth, I built something they couldn't touch, not to hurt them, but to heal me." I looked into the sea of faces. My revenge, I continued, wasn't money, or fame, or applause. My revenge was peace, freedom, and walking into every room like I belonged because I finally believe it. The audience was still, then rose. Applause echoed, louder than any insult I'd ever heard in my life, and in that moment, I knew I didn't just cut my family off, I outgrew them, and I would never shrink again. The end.